Yo guys, welcome in today's video. In today's video we are again sitting outside, right, in the countryside. We are accompanied by bulls in the background, and they haven't told me yet whether they are going to wake up 2023 or whether they are going to wake up in 2024. But that's going to be the topic of today's video as well. I want to have a talk about the macro perspective, about the 16-year cycle, and also if you actually follow that 16-year cycle, that the chance of you losing on a macro perspective is actually very, very small. So I'm going to try and explain to you why I think that. I also want to have a talk about the bear market in 2022 and how I've experienced it and how I would experience that with a magnitude of 3-4. That is just something I want to focus on the channel. We are going to focus on also on shorter term time frame, but also on macro perspective. And yeah, let's start with the 16-year cycle and how you actually, if you follow this cycle, can't lose. First of all, I want to thank every single one of you for watching yesterday's video, putting the engagement on the 16-year cycle video, guys. This is, in my opinion, very important because in the bear market of 2000, or actually the start of the bull market, like around 2018, 2019, maybe even beginning 2020, I've published a video. And that video was about the Shemitah cycle, where I actually talk about very clearly that the stock market is going to top around September 2021. Right? And what my mistake was, definitely in the bull market of 2021, 2020, 2021, is that once we were seeing that point of time where we potentially could get a top based on that 7-year cycle, I was not thinking about the 7-year cycle. Why? Because I was too much focused into shorter term price action, like everybody. And this is one of my weaknesses, and I know that, guys, that in a bull market, it's very difficult to take profits because you are in a state of euphoria, you feel invincible, everything just keeps on going up, and it's very difficult to stay strong, to stay grounded, and to take profits. It's a very difficult thing. One of my strengths are actually that I can very good time the bottom. I did it now already 2 times. I did it in 2018, 2019 when Bitcoin was dropping to 3K. Like, I went all into Bitcoin. I actually timed the bottom perfectly. And I did it also right now in 2020, 23, actually when Bitcoin dropped to 60K. That was also the moment where I went all in again, timing the exact bottom. So far, still pretty good. So I know my strengths. My strength is really calling the bottom. Did it multiple times, and I always have this feeling that, yeah, I have this feeling, and I can really take risk when there is a very depressive atmosphere. But for me, it's then again very difficult to take profits in a euphoric atmosphere. So it's good to know your weaknesses, because if you know your weaknesses, you can work on that. If you are aware of those weaknesses, you can actually work on that and you can prevent them in the future, right? So what I did was actually basically predicting on a certain cycle, September 2021, we are going to see a top in the stock market. We did saw that top around that time, but around that time, my mind was not in that state. You know, I was not aware of that cycle in that moment because I was too focused on short-term price action, which was my mistake. Right? I should have taken more profits. I had some other methods in play which actually guaranteed me of some profits, and that I also did right here on the channel. That was like when we surpass previous all-time high and break back below it, that is a moment I'm taking profits. So that was a moment actually afterwards that I took some profits, but I haven't took like the majority of my portfolio out and waited until the bear market. I haven't recognized that we've entered a bear market. I just saw in the shorter term time frame a good moment or opportunity to take profits with losing that previous all-time high. But back to the 16-year cycle and why you can't lose. What is the 16-year cycle? The 16-year cycle basically predicts a bullish 2023, but also really predicts a very bearish 2025 and 2026, maybe even 2024 too. But this is not yet unfolded, right? But it makes you humble. It puts you in perspective. It makes you, it forces you to have a look at the markets in a certain perspective, right? And it gives you the opportunity to assess the markets at a certain time frame and to ask yourself whether you should take profits, yes or no. So let's say the 16-year cycle is not playing out, right? So 2023 is going to be a normal year where eventually the end of the year we are going to see similar levels as we are seeing right now. Did you lose following that cycle? No, you didn't. Plus 2024 could be still a very bullish year, right? If we just consolidated 2023, we already have seen a correction from the all-time high of over 80%, right? So it's a fact that Bitcoin is undervalued. At least, definitely when it was at hello there. Definitely when it was at $16,000. It was 100%. Definitely undervalued, right? So it's like the risk to reward ratio to the upside is definitely higher, because if it would go to 10k, you would just lose 10% or 50% of your investment. Well, if it would go up to 30, 40, 50k, the upside potential is way higher. But if 2023 appears to be a very bullish year, and at the end of 2023, based on the 16-year cycle, you are taking some profits, you are taking some precautions, you are preparing for another bear market, right? You might win quite a lot. And it's not only money that you win, it's also time. Because if you are in a bear market without money, you don't have time. Because you're only busy with working. The only time that you have is you need to work, you need to get money, you need to find a job, and so on. So time in that case is money. If you have no money at all, your time will be spent on work, right? In most countries at least. If Bitcoin after 2023 would rally higher, so guys, back to walking. I guess the bulls, they got a little bit nervous for me talking there about Bitcoin. Maybe they want to send us a message, I don't know. But yeah, let's go back to the topic of why you actually can't lose with following the 16-year cycle. Why I think it is the right path for us to take if you are a hodler on a macro perspective. So I'm not talking about shorter term price action, okay? Let's talk about a couple of scenarios, okay? So we have the 16-year cycle. That cycle explains that 2023 will be an explosive year, will be very bullish, will be the last year that is bullish. It's easy validated and it's easy invalidated. If at December 2023 we surpassed all-time highs and we are seeing a nice parabolic curve, it's validated if you ask me. If at the end of 2023 we are still hovering around 30k, 20k, it's invalidated. In both of these scenarios you still wouldn't have lost if you position yourself for it. In the first scenario you are taking profits at the right time. You can put yourself in perspective. At the second scenario you haven't lost anything. You just waited 1 year with your Bitcoin holdings. If Bitcoin appeared to go up higher in 2024, which is a risk that you then take with that first scenario, you might miss out on some gains. I don't know if that's the worst thing. You still gained quite a lot if we surpass previous all-time highs, right? The other scenario would be, and that would be the only scenario for you to lose, if we go down this year, if 2023 will be a very bearish year. That would be actually the only scenario where you might lose. But if that's the case, and I think it is actually a low probability, why? Because we already had a 1-year bear market, we already had a 80% drawdown of the all-time high in Bitcoin. So yeah, I just don't see that happen. I think 2023 is either going to be sideways, consolidation, and we have an explosive year in 2024, or 2023 will be super explosive and it will be that 16-year cycle will be validated. And the thing what I like here, guys, is that you can easily validate or invalidate it, right? So yeah, if we are at the end of 2023, like I said, we are at 30k. We have had a sideways year with a little bit of rallies and dumps and stuff. Okay, then we might not seeing that 60-year cycle playing out, but you're still positioned for 2024. Still, the downside is quite limited, I would say. But yeah, like I also said in my other video, like yesterday I actually watched a couple of other cycles. It's not only the 16-year cycle, but I watched a couple of other cycles, and they all point to the same scenario. The only thing that not everything points to is that 2023 is going to be super explosive. That is basically only the 16-year cycle that is pointing to that. But all the other cycles, they all point to a very bullish 2023 and 4, and a major bearish, like a extreme bearish years will follow. So 2025 and 2026, and maybe a big part of 2024 too, will be very, very bearish. And I really want to follow these cycles, because if I would have listened to myself, if I would put some structures in play in the previous bull market, where in September 2021, hey look guys, there's a boat going by. If I would have some structures in play that in 2021 at September I could get something to change my mind, like give me the insight, right? Yo, dude, you are right now entering that 7-year cycle. Most likely you're going to see a top in the stock market, which also equals a top in Bitcoin. If I would have something in play at that moment, I can more easily convince myself in the midst of euphoria to take profits, which was almost at the exact top, guys. So that is what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to look at things from a timely perspective, which will give me the power of transforming my perspective to a more pessimistic view when things are euphoric. And this is also my weakness. Like I said before, I can buy at the bottom. I have the conviction. I know when we are seeing the bottom. I called the bottom 2 times, right? And I didn't solve the COVID crash. I didn't solve the March crash. I stick to my holdings. So this is my strength. I can call the bottom. This is something that I can recognize. My weakness is to call the top. Right now I have a lot of things in play how I can call that top, and the first thing, the most important thing, is that you are able to flip your bias. And how can you do that? To put things in perspective, to get that moment of aha, I'm seeing something that nobody else is seeing, because even the best guys, even the best traders, even institutional investors, they haven't taken enough profits at the top. So that's going to be really my focus of the coming years, guys, to just like make sure I'm going to take profits, going to diversify those profits, because I'm expecting some rough years ahead, right? I'm right now already preparing for those years, because I'm expecting 2025, 2026 will be very rough, maybe 2024 too, depending whether that 60-year cycle plays out. But yeah, this is just what I'm watching. This is what I'm also be focused on right here on the channel. So if you are interested in that, make sure to leave your engagement, guys. That's very much appreciated. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to have that bell notification on. We are going to do it more often like this, that we're just going to have like enjoy the nature a little bit and talk about these macro things, talk about the perspective, macro perspective, and how we can actually recognize our weaknesses and how we can outsmart ourselves with knowing what the weakness is, right? So that is going to be important, guys. I want to thank you all for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, guys, I hope to see every single one of you in the next video.